Good day, good people. Welcome to another purpose-filled episode of Lessons for the Journey. The purpose of our podcast is to share insights, information on women's wellness, understanding our whys, and the lessons that inspire us to take positive action in our lives, in our family, and in our community. Our topics really focus on women's wellness, seeing through a metaphysical lens, sharing spiritual insights, highlighting our journey, and building healthy relationships. I am your host, Dr. Heather Heteru, and I share this space with amazing co-hosts, guests, and we're going to talk about lots of things about your journey. And we meet every Friday at 12 p.m. for a transformative 1-hour live podcast here on Podcastic. And you can also find us on YouTube. So if you missed the show, no worries. You can always go back and see the preview or the review. So some things that you can expect from our podcast is really deep, thought-provoking conversations on self-discovery and personal growth. Special guests, we're going to be on location at different places. We're going to be talking about people, places, and polls. So listening to what your thoughts are about things too. Our co-hosts share a great deal of wisdom from their life journey and experiences. We have a powerful blend of spiritual, metaphysical, and wellness lessons that we can share with you, and as well as, do this on our own. So as we are taking this journey, you get to share in it. So through our conversation, dialogue, and even have an opportunity to call in. So we hope that you gain some tools, some strategies, some insights, some information, new information that helps you move along the course of your journey. Today, our show is produced and engineered by our own Chantel Mosley. And our special co-host for the day is Jada Rains. And so I'm really excited to have them join us today. And you will see over the course of our journey together other special and amazing co-hosts like Ma'at Sabah, Mary Bayou, Nicole S. Miller, and special appearances by my own sweetheart, Dr. Calvin T. Mann. So we are going to jump right into our topic for the day. And so I want to, I like to frame our conversations. And so we are talking about highlighting Black history and to just continue to celebrate Black History Month. But we all know that Black history is year round. So I don't want to get too caught up into using the term Black History Month, because I really like to acknowledge that our history is constant and ongoing. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about trends and some things that emerged out of trends that I think might be surprising to you. Once you hear it, I'm sure you're going to have that aha moment and agree. But I want to first bring on Jada. Hey, Jada.
Hello. How's everyone?
Good. I'm so glad to have you here today. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself? Anything about your journey? Are you on your journey? Have you found your purpose? Where are you in this work?
So my name is Jada. I just turned 28 about 2.5 weeks ago. And I am a social work. I am in school for social work and mental health. I also am an aspiring life coach. And that's how I clicked up with Dr. Miller through an event that my mom was invited to. And I am definitely on my journey. It is exactly what we said, a journey. There's ups and downs, roundy rounds. But I'm definitely on my journey. I feel like God has really, really showed me who I am, and that has allowed me to know what my purpose is. And that's how I know that I need to be helping other people get into this journey, learn themselves, turn their pain into purpose and different things like that. So yes, I'm definitely on the journey.
That's awesome. Awesome. So for me personally, I have been on this journey of purpose for about 25 years, and that's intentional. And so during the course of this journey for me, it has been, like you said, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. And as I have taken one step forward in exploring myself and my personal journey and looking at how I'm growing, God has also given me a vision for sharing what I've gone through. So you will learn, if you don't know already, that my journey has been really, really interesting and has taken me in so many different pathways. And one of the opportunities that I want to make sure that our listeners and our viewers take advantage of is your backstory. Your backstory is so important, but you have to be able to look at your backstory without judgment. And when I say judgment, I'm saying good, bad, right, and wrong. Once you put that label on something, it starts to take on the characteristics of those things. So if you say that it's good, then it takes on that characteristics. When you say that it's bad, it takes on that characteristic. But it can also change your ability to see the lesson or the blessing in what has happened on this course. So I want you to remember that your backstory is so super important. And God makes no mistakes, right? Yeah. You were born here for a reason. You were born into the family you're in. You were born into the community that you're in. You were born into the life lessons that you are pursuing. You have been born into a body that is on loan. Our bodies are on loan, and we think that we own this body. No, it's on loan. So we're leasing this body. Just like you lease a vehicle, we're leasing this body. We have a temporary ownership, but eventually we have to turn this body back in. But the spirit that inhabits that body has a longevity that is infinite. And so it's really important for us to know that, and to really, as we grow into this perspective and we grow into looking at life as a journey and not necessarily a destination, but there are lots of fun places to go along the way. And so I really am excited to have this conversation today about highlighting our Black history, and then looking at some of the trends, or pulling some of those trends out for us to explore and look at a little bit deeper. And if you get any good information, any new information out of it, then we have met the purpose for the day. So I'm excited about sharing a few of these emerging trends and kind of framing this conversation around looking at our history. And I'm saying the long course of our history and some of the contributions that we have made, but how we are so much in so many areas the originators. And so I wanted to talk about and we're going to have some questions at the end. I think it's going to be a really good time to share some information about what it means to be on a spiritual journey and what is the ultimate goal of this journey, which I'm thinking that people are going to get really good information and insight from that. So I'm excited to have this conversation. I'm excited to be here with Chantel and with Jada. Absolutely. And we are going to get started. So I'm going to pull out this first trend. And Jada, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this. So I'm going to talk about hairstyles as this first trend. We can go all the way back to the hieroglyphs, and we were always represented with hair and hairstyles. And so at different points in different cultures, and I'm still talking about our original cultures, our ancient Kemetic culture, kind of starting with that long distance view and then kind of bringing it up to our current view. So when I think about hair, and in particular, I'm one that I like to have a lot of versatility in my hair. Absolutely. I've been natural for since college. I think that was the last time. And I had a press and curl. I really never got perms. I always had a press and curl. So, once it was done, it was done. And then you went on to something else. But in our long distance history, right, we talk about how important our crown, our head, right, especially the top of your head. Mm-hmm. And if you are interested or practicing chakras, you understand that your crown is your highest chakra. And I'm talking about basic chakra system. So all those experts out there who say, no, we have 1,000 chakras. Okay. I'm just talking about the basics right now. Okay. So our crown chakra is at the top of our head, and it moves upward, or faces upward. And that color is associated with purple or white light. And so when we look back and we look at illustrations and examples, one of the things that has been a part of some of those images and imagery over the years, and I'm still talking long history, is the halo. You guys remember seeing images, and these are, still a little bit distant in our past, but you would see people with halos. And that halo still was represented on the crown. And often it was a white light with a little bit of a purple hinge to it. But that was a way to symbolize that higher consciousness, that spiritual connection. Mm-hmm. And so when you think of your hair, that is one of the highest points of your body, right? We talk about the hair on your head, your crown, right? And so when you look at movies, or you look at images that they found on hieroglyphs, and you look at the history and how it's been chronicled, it was always something that highlighted the hair. It could have been a crown. It might have been what looked like a wig. It might have been all kinds of representations. But it also was consistently showing us that part of our body was really important. And it was a lot of care given to that part of your body. It was a lot of adornment given to that part of the body. So the hair was often decorated as much as the body. So in the jewelry that you might find. So I thought that when we start looking at our history, if we started at the top, we started at our hair, and then we work our way down the body systems, you'll see a lot of different correlations. So there is a correlation between, here's something I'm bringing a little bit to the future, and I'm going to pull Jada into this too. But when you think of people who are hairstylists, where do they have their hands? The most of the time, barbers, hairstylists, they all have their hands on your head, on your crown. And so, and they are typically higher than you are. So they are higher where they actually can see the top of your head, right? Mm-hmm. And then the conversations that they are having, when you are in that barber chair or you're in that styling chair, that conversation that's being had is being spoken directly into your crown chakra. So you have to be mindful about what things are being discussed over your head. And I mean that literally and figuratively. What conversations are being fed into your inner spirit? Because it's a gateway, right? It's a gateway into your spiritual self. So when people are speaking life over you, or are people speaking negativity, are people speaking gossip, are people speaking, their life experiences and some of the things. And if you pay attention, some of the things that have been spoken to you and over you, you start to take some of that information in. And you might repeat something that was said to you. It might show up in an action or behavior. All of these things are really important. And then, so I'm gonna pause a minute and ask Jada, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that? Is that something that makes sense?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning when you were talking about our history with our hair, just specifically Black women, excuse me, or Black men. When we started wearing braids, I was reading that. We would store in the early days, we would store like food or rice or grain in the braids. Like it was deeper than just, I want my hair braided. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that it's very important for us to know, like you saying, our history and where certain things come from. So we're just aware. I'm sorry, y'all, you're choking me up. But the other thing is, I have a sister who is a hairstylist. Shout out to Revive Styles.
All right.
And it's called Revive Styles. And she tells me all the time, like, somebody sitting in her chair just gives her so much purpose, because she's able to, like you saying, speak life, kind of transform that person, whatever they may have been feeling before they walked in, and that conversation that's going on. It transforms everything for them, and not just their hair. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that is I think it's a beautiful thing, and I definitely understand. And for me, my hair is a big part of me. I love hair. I used to sell hair. My real hair, when I cut my hair like 2 years ago in October, and it was so freeing. Like I went to like a really, really short cut, and it was like, okay, this is it. You know what I mean? And not just the look, but like just to like embrace myself fully of like who I was. And hair is a big, big thing. And I was going to say something else. Yeah, it's just a big part of my expression. Like now my hair is growing back, and like I said, I used to sell hair, I wear wigs. It's just a big part of expressing who we are. Even in ancient days, we would wear like wigs. So it's definitely like just a part of our culture and expressing ourselves for sure.
And I think when you have those experiences, sometimes people don't know why they're motivated to do one thing or another. Why do I like wigs? And, and we, there's all kinds of conversation to have around hair and, natural hair versus synthetic hair versus human hair. There's lots of conversations to have around that. But I want to keep us a little bit focused on hair, the history of it, and yes, the styles. And I'm so glad you mentioned that about how we've used other things, that it has other purposes, other uses. So storing hair, storing food, grain. When you think about cowrie shells, a lot of, now during, over time and kind of moving toward modern history, we have used cowrie shells and metal clips or copper clips and things like that in our hair for adornment. But one of the things I really want people to know is that your hair, your natural hair, we growing up, it was, you had nappy hair, right? Nappy hair, which is really coiled hair. And I know my hair, people ask me, well, why don't you just lock your hair? Why don't you commit to locking? My hair locks every day. Whether I'm in afro. So if you see me in my afro, you see my hair is gnarled, is knots. And so my hair, I have to undo my locks, and I do twists. And so once I move from my twist, I go back to my afro. Like I have this whole routine. But what happens is I give my hair a break. And so even when my hair is, I'm wearing an afro, I pick up so much information. So depending on the style that I'm wearing, I get different information and I feel different. And so I want people to know that our hair is not just to protect our scalp. Our hair is living. Our hair is an antenna for information, for downloads. So people who get downloads, you don't have any interference. It's coming direct. And so wherever your downloads are coming from, if it's spiritual, ancestral, we are getting those downloads. And we're getting that by way of our hair. And here's an example. And we were talking about this. Were we talking about this about when people get goosebumps and the hair stand up on the back of your neck or the hair stands up on your arm? Yes, that's energy. That's that messaging that is coming through. And whether it's synergizing with somebody else because they said something or spoke something or moved you in a way, like it's happening to me right now. I can feel hair standing up on my arms right now. So that synergy, that's part of our messaging system. Just like trees have a root system, we also have that messaging system. And one of the ways that we pass and transfer information is through our hair. So when you pick your stylist, shout out, what's the name again?
Revive Styles.
All right. When you pick your hairstylist or your barber, and my husband was a barber for many, many years, and he spoke life over people. He spoke life over people. You can't put your hands on somebody's head and not have a transfer. We hear it all the time in church, right? Let's lay our hands on our brothers. Let's pray for them. We lay our hands on you. You are putting your hands on somebody. So be aware and be conscious of who has their hands on your hair. Whether you're getting your hair braided, the type of hair you use, there is energy in all of it. It's energy in all of it. So be mindful of how you're doing that. But when you have the ability to block certain things, to reject certain things, you can return it back to the sender. People say, I send this back to the pit of hell where it came from, right? You have the right to reject that too. But if you're not strong spiritually, if you're not able to discern the differences or what's happening, you may not be able to express the actual power that you have. And so I think that's a really important aspect. And because you have been interested in hair, what were some of the things that you learned about when you were selling hair?
When I was it was very saturated. That's what I did learn, so I stopped. But it was like I cared about making people feel good. And that's just always been like my bottom line. And at the time, my hair was really short. It was like I was going, like you saying, be careful who you let in your hair, because I was going to different people and my hair just started falling out and it just never grew back correctly. And I would always like be wearing braids or some kind of weave or something. And I just started to embrace it. And I know like people sometimes have alopecia and they want to, like you saying, have that versatility, have, that feel good about their self. And it gives you a different outlet that they can be free and have short hair, or they can try something else and express themselves that way. But I did learn where it comes from, like you're saying, is very important. You want to make sure that it is of good quality, because you don't want to have good healthy hair and put something in it that like bundles or something that may break it off, or you may be allergic to certain things. So but that was always my bottom line, is I just wanted people to feel good, because I know that when my hair was like breaking off and I had to wear weave or something, I just was like kind of sad about my real hair. And when I would get my hair done, like I would feel good. Like, when they say when you look good, you feel good. So that was my thing for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the lesson out of our hair, a couple lessons, right? What would be the lesson for you?
Just express yourself. Make sure you, like you saying about our history, know where some of our trends come from as far as braids or weave or wigs. Make sure you just do a little research on that to kind of understand. Like I said, freedom of expression. And I would say what you said, be careful who you let in your kids, like especially at a young age, for sure, to be careful who you let in your children's heads, what kind of atmosphere it is. Like you said, sometimes barbershops or beauty shops, it's like you said, it's all energy. So you want to make sure that wherever you're going is a good space, and who is servicing you is a good space. So
awesome. The lesson I would like for you to leave with is to remember that your hair is an antenna. It's picking up information all the time. When you're wondering where your thoughts are coming from, or you're wondering why you feel the way you do, you might want to pause, take a deep breath, do a self-check. Check in with you. Like, where have I been, and what have I been around? And if you also notice that hair is a filter. So if you're around people who are smoking, it actually is absorbing your hair. If you are smoking, if you're smoking marijuana, if you're smoking cigarettes, if you're vaping, all of that is captured in your hair. And we're talking about our hair on our heads, but that is transferred throughout the hair on your body. Your down there hair, underarm hair, hair on your legs, hair on your face, it is transferred into your hair because it's a filter. And so be mindful in the environment, because you can also, if it's energy that you can pick up, that means you can pick up spirits too, that can sit with you, walk around with you, have you acting crazy, doing things that you know are out of character. When we look at our kids, sometimes you might want to see, okay, where were they? Was it something in school? Were they at the hair salon? Were they at the barbershop? Did they pick up these kind of things? Where are your kids? What are you doing? Where are you? So there's so many things in our environment that we can control. You can control that. So this is the last thing too. When you wash your hair, you should be praying over that ritual, because your hair washing is a ritual as well. So when you wash your hair, make sure you're replacing it with nutritious thoughts, affirmations, and those things that can cover you. The things that don't serve you, have it removed and be disposed as you are having that experience. So shameless plug. No, this is a plug. It's not for shame. I have a book called Patch of Grass. And in my book, Patch of Grass, I talk about sacred spaces. Ultimately, the message in that book is for you to recognize that you are the sacred space, and how you prepare that sacred space, that is your body, how you acknowledge that you are sacred is a part of the change and the growth that you have. The final thing that I want you to take away from this experience and thinking about hair is that you have a frequency. We talked about being an antenna. So there is a frequency that is kind of our standard or our starting frequency, which is around 68 megahertz. You want to make sure that your frequency goes up and not down. because lower frequencies take you to colds, flus. COVID has its own frequency. I believe it's 58 megahertz. Wasn't it 58? I think it's 58 megahertz. So if you experience cold and flu symptoms, that means your frequency is lower and you need to do some things to raise it up. Maybe washing your hair is one of those things, and washing your hair with intention, for healing, for removing all toxins that might be held in that space because of places you've been, or even your own thoughts or somebody else's thoughts that have been implanted in you. So hair as a trend, toward our history, we see a lot of people wearing locks of other cultures that may not have been something that had been popular for this time, but over time it's something that another seed has been planted. And so we are trendsetters. We are absolutely trendsetters. And so that conversation around our hair is really important. Again, that's an ancient conversation, and bringing it to modern times, meaning that we need to come back to the understanding of the purpose that it has for us. God set us up so that everything has a purpose, and our bodies are designed to keep regenerating. Okay, so we have to use those tools, and our discernment is one of those tools. So thank you for sharing your experiences too. You'll see Jada's the bomb. All right, now, so the next part of our trends in history is dancing. Our dancing. Well, and we know in every culture there's a form of dance, right? In our culture in particular, that dance always has a rhythm to it. It's almost like following the rhythm of a heartbeat, that boom, 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 right? And that's part of our long history, but it also, in moving into our present history, how rhythm is expressed through different instruments, and even using the body as an instrument. You have people that do the beats. You know, you have people who step, right? You have sororities that step. Not too many cultures outside of our community, right, step. But that's a part of the rhythm of the dance. Yeah. Right? And so, and even twerking, right? That was the big cultural awareness that has spread across everywhere. Kind of like, what was the guy at the Super Bowl? What was his name?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yes. Calvin constantly is showing me, look at this culture. They're doing the same thing. It was amazing how much impact that, not just the messaging, but the movement, right? The movements. And you see people all over the world dancing from Black culture, right? And so historically, our impact and our influence in terms of trends, we are what's trending. Yeah. We are what's trending. And so when you look at the dances, I just want to kind of bring some things back. But when you think about dance, what do you think? What do you see?
When I just looked down and read it, thinking about history, I started thinking about jazz and Alvin Ailey. I don't know why those two came to my mind. I used to dance in high school.
What type of dance?
It was like modern dance, contemporary dance. And we got to learn about Alvin Ailey, and my dance teacher was a Black woman. And it was beautiful to learn those things, to learn that how to, again, expression, and learning about where it came from and how it was created, and how we took it to the next level. Next level. Yes, for sure. Trendsetters. And jazz, because I'm always hearing how we impact so many genres of music, and I read and I learn this was created by us, or we took this to the next level to get this kind of recognition of the different genres. And it's music and dance kind of tie a lot to together for me. So those are the thoughts that came to my mind for sure.
Yeah. And so, looking deeper at body movements and the things that call your body. There's certain music. We can combine these two. So certain types of music draw you in. It makes your body move in a certain way. It's responding to the music. So one of the aspects I think that sometimes we miss or overlook is the communication aspects of dance and music. What is that particular body movement conveying? What's the message? Now, in our present history, it's all provocative. All the dances, you know, but you can go back and look at those same dances in the context of culture, and it has a totally different meaning.
For sure.
And so it is healing. Part of the body movements was about healing and sending energy to that particular body part. So if you were not well, one of the best things that you could do is to dance. Yeah. Because it increased your frequency, and people gathering around you, enhancing that frequency and sending you that healing energy, and you pulling that in and putting it at certain places in your body. Mm-hmm. Some of those movements was for healing. And I'll give you a way that you can recognize this. If you've ever seen praise dancers, it is the most amazing thing that you can see. Mm-hmm. Praise dancers, and because every movement, you can feel that movement. Yeah. It is communicating with you. This is worship. This is peaceful. This is how I feel, and it is so awakening. I remember it's a song. I think it's Hezekiah Walker. What is it called? We Will Survive. You pray for me, I pray for you. That song. I saw that. I saw that, and some women perform a praise dance to that song at the start of my journey. Mm. And it was at an event, and this is actually where I met my aunt Sabah, and I also met Goddess for the first time. And they were just women I saw who were just beautiful women. Mm. And at that event, it was the most awakening thing that I had ever experienced. I had never experienced women that way. I had never experienced frequency on that level where I could actually see energy sparking from people. Mm-hmm. It looked like flashes of light, but they were dancing, and every woman in the audience, it was probably a good 200-300 women in this audience. Everybody broke down. Wow. Everybody broke down. There was nobody left with dry eyes. Wow. And we were leaning on each other, holding each other up. But when those women came down, that's what broke it. That's like what broke it was like they broke the yoke, the burden from years. And I was crying too. I was crying on another lady's shoulder. Another lady came. She was crying on my shoulder. I mean, it was such an energetic experience. But it was a combination, that particular song, and the praise dancers that were sharing that information, like they were pulling that hurt, pulling that pain, pulling all the negativity that we were feeling, and they broke that. I mean, it was like something broke, and everybody was free. Ooh. It was a room full of free women. And I long to have that experience. And I haven't had it in such a mass group before. But in sister circles, when you have that and you feel that yoke being broken, and everybody is on one accord, and that frequency and that vibration is increasing and increasing, and you feel invincible. Mm. You feel invincible. You feel, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to change the world, starting with me, right? It inspires you in such a way that it promotes and prompts action. And that's exactly what it's designed to do. What is the message that is being communicated through our music and through our dance? And so part of our understanding and some of the, and my first, I have to admit that sometimes judgment comes first. Mm-hmm. When you see a woman, she's dressed provocatively, she's dancing provocatively, the first thing that comes to my mind is my sister is exploiting herself and all of us, right? Mm-hmm. But when I step back and I get out of this conditioning, I can say, wow, what a beautiful movement. What is she feeling? What is she expressing? Is she feeling sensual? Is she feeling like you can still pull the lesson from that? Mm. You can find the blessing in it. So part of what that opportunity is, that you are the filter for that information. Mm. So I can be the filter for that information. And one of the things that I can do is not judge her, but I can send her good energy. Yeah. I can send good intention to her that for whatever reason she's expressing this, that I am witness to, how can I share into that and make sure that when I'm sending her back, it's something positive and good? Because she, for whatever her reasons are, I'm not in her shoes.
Yeah.
Right? But I have to move beyond my judgment first. My good, bad, right, or wrong judgment.
Yeah.
Putting a label on her, putting a label on what she's doing, putting a label on why she's doing it. None of that is for me to judge. Now, if I'm really going to pay attention, what can I take out of what she's doing?
Right.
Right? And I know it's our first impact because we've been socialized.
Yeah.
And we have been socialized to act in a particular way, thinking that we're doing a particular thing. You know, maybe it was about money, maybe it was about timing, maybe it was about attention, whatever that is, I'm still putting a label on it, so that's what I'm getting back.
Yeah.
So if I'm because, you know, there's a law in process, right? There's a universal cosmic law, right? Not just a spiritual law, but you reap what you sow.
Absolutely.
And so if I'm constantly judging what somebody else is doing, that means I'm constantly being judged by what I'm doing. So if I don't want to stop judgment falling on me that way, then I got to stop putting out judgment that way.
That's good.
Yeah. So that communicating and making sure that we're communicating the best message for the circumstance, and how we're dancing, and how we're listening to music, and making sure that not just the music itself, but the lyrics. We have to be patient and careful about the words that we take in. Now, the words can ruin the music.
I think that I just want to jump in a little bit right here because I am going through that right now. Like you said about setting the intention for washing your hair. I think it's important for us to pay attention to our intention. So like we're getting up in the morning, if we listening to Sexy Red or if we're listening to Tasha, Tasha Cobb. I'm really, you said neither one.
I don't know.
Well, to give you context, like Sexy Red is like a hip hop artist, like twerking, like she's correlated with that.
Okay.
And Tasha Cobb is a gospel artist. Yeah. Okay. So
sounds like extremes. Right?
So me being fully transparent, I listen to both. I think that me starting to be more intentional on my journey, I find myself now at more of a peaceful stage. So, like, I don't get in their car every time and turn on Sexy Red. Like, I'm going to get me some gospel, some peaceful, some R&B, something soft, because that is where I am right now. But I think that it's important for everybody to know, like you said, whatever music we're taking in, whatever dances we're doing, we have to be intentional about what are we setting ourselves up for? You know what I mean? So I think that's very important. I just had to jump in and say.
Oh, I'm glad you're sharing that. So what do you think about the communication element, though?
Of dancing. That's why I said when I first said, like, it's a great expression. Like you said, it expresses our pain. Some things that we might not be able to say that our body can just feel and do. It's a great way to express ourselves. As far as sometimes we might journal or we might do different things. I think us communicating through dances, and a lot of people have that they don't have the words, but they have the moves or the feeling, and it just flows through their body. So I think that's a great way to communicate and use that as an outlet for sure.
That's a great lesson.
Yeah,
that's a great lesson. Thank you. So I'm not as savvy on the artists that are, I get,
That's okay. We're gonna keep you up to date.
Right. But because I'm real mindful about what I take in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. So I, if it doesn't resonate with me, and then it'll go right out the window. It doesn't matter. So I only hold certain things for a certain amount of time. Yeah. Okay, here's another one that I think is a really exciting conversation. And in a few weeks in March, we are actually going to visit one of the most outstanding artistic spaces in our city. The owner is actually an artist. And the space that they hold is for the tattoo artists and piercings, but how they come together is really, really incredible. It's an event space too. Every place that you look in this space is beautiful, and it's It's intentional from the floor to the ceiling. Like, it is an amazing space. I can't wait for us to visit there. So this next conversation is around our body art. I call it body art. People call it tattoos. For some people, it's henna. Or it's all of the different ways that we adorn and decorate our bodies. To me, the place that you see it the most is in sports. It's like they have no blank spaces on their canvas. But again, when you look at our long history, right, our ancient history, those have been messages sent through our culture, but they also were telling stories. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of want to know, for people who have body art, you have body art?
I don't have any tattoos.
No tattoos?
I have this piercing and I have a dermal on my ear, in my ears, of course, but I don't have any tattoos.
So why?
Like I told you, my best friend passed. And I think that, that is when I wanted to get a tattoo, something in remembrance of her that I could always have. Mm-hmm. But I never was just like, let me go just get tatted up. For one, I don't want to just sit. I don't know about the pain. I don't know how that's going to be.
Right.
And I just never just wanted to put just anything. Like, it had to be meaningful to me. Like, I got this nose piercing because she was like, I just got my nose pierced. And I was like, mm-mm. And she was like, yes, we should. And I was like, let me try something. And I did, yeah. And I love it. Chantel has one. Right. She's pointing to hers. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it. So I don't have any tattoos.
So what side is that? That's your right or your left?
Yeah, my right.
Okay, so we know. Yours are right, too?
Oh.
Okay, so our producer says she has 8 tattoos and 2 piercings. Mm-hmm. Right. 2 nose piercings.
14. Oh, 14.
And 14 in your ears, both ears? Together is 14.
Together, yes.
Okay, so let me give you some insight, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the opportunities, well, first, the body art, we know that's cultural. Mm-hmm. And so the more you see it, it's more tribal. It's more of a tribal ancestral call for the body art, for the tattoos, right? We're trying to tell our stories without, and you may not have the voice to do it, like you talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. You may not have the voice necessarily to do it, but you have that call and that draw for it.
Yeah.
Yes. My bonus daughter has tattoos and piercings. And yeah, I have my 2 original holes in my ear, 1 in each ear, where my mom pierced my ears with a needle.
Really?
A needle and a cork. And a needle, ice, and cork. Ooh. My mom pierced my ears. I was probably 2 years old.
So did you? Well, that was kind of her decision. Because I was gonna say, did you ask? But you said you were 2. So that was kind of.
I mean, but it was a girl thing to do. Yeah. It was a girly thing. So I didn't know any better. Yeah. I was 2, and I was very girly. Don't get me wrong. I was very girly. So I was happy to get my ears pierced. But again, it's tribal, and so I'm going to go in a different direction with the piercings. I'm going to share some insights with you guys around this. So. When you say, so where your piercings are and where your tattoos are is another story that's being told. So it's a couple of ways that you can look at this story, right? You can look at it as whatever ancestral, tribal connection you have made, or whatever you pulled out of the ethers through your hair. Whatever you pulled out of the ether and that message, and whatever triggered that thought or that response about what it is. So I'm going to encourage people to go back, journal this. Oh, if I didn't say, please make sure you have journals when you are with us on this podcast. So you go back and you see what resonated with you. So for you, one of the things that resonated was sisterhood. It was a sisterhood connection between you and your friend, and that's why you shared that, right? But the other thing to pay attention to is where your piercings are, because typically there's some type of metal. Gold, some people use bone, some people so whatever that is a tribal thing, but it's also what your body is asking you for. So you may need more metal in your body in terms of the element that's calling you. Yeah. What you are wearing consistently, you might want to also connect that. See what the meaning of the metal, the color that you have. Look up what that means. Wow. Because it's what your body needed. You might think, okay, well, this is just cute. No, it's deeper than that. It's much deeper than that. Okay. Also, because both of you have piercings on the right side, the right side is masculine. The right side is masculine. So your nose represents your sense of smell. So you're probably so much more sensitive to a masculine scent. So you probably pick that up.
You know what's funny? No, listen, do you know what's funny? I tell my friends all the time, like, when I'm choosing scents, like, I like a more I don't want so much sweet. Like, I like more masculine, earthy. So that's so funny. Yes, I love that. Thank you for the insight.
Right. So, okay, so Chantel, and you talked about numbers. I know that numbers resonate with you. So pay attention to your numbers. So now that you have those numbers with you, you have 14 is 1. You got another one that's 2. Those are numbers. Why were you drawn there with your ears? So you have 14 with your ears. That's another connection that you need to make about your journey. What are you hearing? Because it's connected to your sense of hearing, right? Right. So 14, which is 1 and 4, makes 5, right? And numerology, 1 and 4 is 5. So your 14 is actually 5. So you need to be looking up 5s and 2s. You got 2 piercings in your nose, your sense of smell. This is your story. These are your breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
That makes sense? Okay. And then for your tattoos, you said you had 9? 8. Yep. For your tattoos, you might want to look up how 8 is related to each part of your body. If it's on your top, so if it's your higher self, so it's going to be from here up. What tattoos do you have from here up, from your chest up, and then what do you have from your chest down? Higher self, lower self. What is the message that you are telling yourself?
That's interesting.
Right? Okay. All right. So
Dr. Miller, you don't have any tattoos, right?
I have lots of natural body art. I got a burn. This is my natural body art. I got burns. I got when I was younger, I was running through Sears, and my arm got caught on one of those racks and cut my arm. I got finger scars where my brother cut my finger off in the door. I got lots of body art. But they're like more battle wounds.
Yeah, for sure, wounds.
I was racing with my dad and fell, and I got a scrape on my leg that never. Yeah, I got plenty of body art. Yeah, I have a vision, so I never needed any additional body. I understood what those meant. Yeah. But I mean,
But you do have. Can we talk about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we can go into to jewelry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping.
No. You're good. Good. Go ahead. Ask the question.
So you do have, is this like a little crystal or a stone here?
Yeah. Yes.
In the middle of, I don't know if y'all can see it on there, but in the middle of her forehead. And every time and ever since I have met her, I have seen that. And I've read some things about it, but I've actually never even asked you. So this is a great time to ask you, what does that represent? Sure. What does that mean to you?
So for me, I've been through several initiations. And one of them, it is it's not just this crystal. I'm particular about the crystals that I use. This is a Swarovski crystal. That's one. But I do use other crystals. I use rose quartz and white quartz too. So I use the stones and I use the crystals for energy. So anywhere I have electronics, I always have the white quartz. For relationships, I keep rose quartz. And so I also give these as gifts, and I plant them in places. I plant them in places because it helps with a lot of the blue light, if you will, anything that's blue. So your cell phones, all the electronic things that are now so much high energy and high frequency. So I use them, and I use the crystals for the same thing to help detract certain things especially from my third eye. So that's one of the reasons why I wear that. My initiation, it was the outcome of our initiation. It is my awareness about my spiritual growth and enlightenment. And then so it's a part of acknowledging who I am and where I am. And also it reflects. So when the sunlight hits it, everybody gets it. Yeah. So, so I mean, I use it not just for myself, but I use it for others as well.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that because I never asked you.
Right. So you see so many more people in piercings, whether they're ears, nose. Again, so now that we know that we should look more deeply into where it is, because the things that we have in common are our senses, right?
Yeah.
So where are those tattoos? Again, with the jewelry, where do you keep your jewelry? Some people have belly button rings. If you have a belly button ring, there are two things that you need to be watching. It is your solar plexus, which is the space above your belly button, and then it's your sacral chakra, with the space below. So that's your sexual energy. And if you have piercings lower, that's your basic needs. So what are you craving in that basic need? Okay, so that's the jewelry, and of course, you know, the obvious part is the adornment, right? That you're decorating and highlighting or emphasizing, right?
Yeah.
Or enhancing. But the other part of it is where it's placed, because when you have choice, that means you're choosing something, but often we're channeling something. Not just choosing, we're channeling.
Yeah.
And so that's a really good insight for those of you who have and wear jewelry, and especially the ones. So, of course, the everybody knows the symbol of the ring, right?
Yeah.
It's about commitment, right?
Yeah.
And so, but there's some deeper meanings in the rings too, because people who are not necessarily in a marriage commitment wear rings for other purposes. So it can be a memorial. Like this was the ring my dad got my mother. And so my mom, she really wanted bigger diamonds. So it sat down. But that was a gift that he gave her. So I wear it. I wear it in remembrance of my dad, who's passed on, and I wear it for my mom, who no longer was interested in it. She has a whole nother jewelry fanatical belief system. So, but toe rings, what are we saying, right? Right. So for your people who wear toe rings, and I'm talking about the things that you feel like you cannot leave home without, right? There's one thing to have decorative enhancements. There's a whole nother thing for the things you can't leave behind, or you don't feel comfortable leaving the house with it or without it, right? You got to look deeper in that message. You got to look deeper in that message, because it's something you've been channeled that I need this before I go outside, because it's going to protect, it's going to draw, it's going to attract or protect or retract something away from you or draw something to you. Another place that we channel. And so where is placed, like you have on a necklace, you have a cross, but it's over your heart chakra, which is your love. So you're not only expressing it outwardly, you're drawing it into you. And so, that's because that's where it's placed. But it's also part of your higher self. So it's also close to your throat chakra. So it's your heart chakra and your throat chakra empowering you to speak. And so do you leave home without it?
No, I try not to.
Right. Yeah. So empowering you in your speaking and empowering you in your love energy, how you show up in the world is part of your love energy. Yeah. All right. And so the last one is hats and head wraps. This again goes back. It's an ancient, not just an adornment, but it's an ancient part of our culture. And it's also a part of moving into our modern culture. So because we do it and it's something that resonates with you, head wraps never resonated with me. You would hardly ever see me in a head wrap. I think they're beautiful, but it doesn't resonate with me in the same way. Hats, though, I have gone through a season with hats. I'm a part of the Red Hat Society now. So we have mandatory red hat days. So I'm a red hat or purple hat. So that's part of it. But that is, again, part of an ancient culture that is now modernized and systematically a part of a national and global, actually. The Red Hats are a global movement now. So there are Red Hat groups in different cultures across the world. But understanding that, again, right, it's covering your crown, protection, warding off negative influences, evil, that you're taking control of your own thoughts and you're protecting your head, your thoughts, your mind. Anything that has to do with your head, that's part of the protection process. And so we're going to wrap this up in just this last question, Jada, and I'm going to ask this of you. What is the ultimate goal of the spiritual journey?
My ultimate goal would be turning my pain into purpose, helping people understand their identity in God so they can grow in who they are. Those are the things that have helped me. And when I was having a hard time, I used to live in Houston for a while. And when I was having a hard time, I was thinking, what do I need? Once I started figuring that out, okay, I need to figure out who I am, what my purpose is. And I started thinking, okay, what in my journey, if I had one thing along the way, what would I have needed? And it was more support, somebody to kind of more pour into me. Though I'm thankful for the journey I'm on, because I wouldn't be where I am or who I am without my experiences, I started doing some research, and that's why I'm now into mental health and social work, because we have to figure out who we are. We have to be intentional with spending time with ourselves. Learning and growing in the journey is so important. So for me, the ultimate goal is I don't think it's a destination. It's always going to be a journey, but to continue to evolve. And like you said, that was so impactful for me, because I have to take the judgment out of the journey. Sometimes we tend to put all these, I don't know, let me speak for myself. I put so much expectations on myself, and when I don't live up to them or complete them fully, there's so much judgment. And I think that's so powerful. What you said again is, if you're constantly judging other people, then you judge yourself. And I think that's how I am. I'm always observing and seeing different things. So I'm trying to learn to take the judgment out of the journey and trust God in the process, because it is a process. We don't just wake up and be who we want to be. Once you spend that time, you will be able to learn and grow in your journey, and give yourself grace, y'all. Hold yourself accountable, but give yourself grace. So that would be, for me, what the journey is.
So I'm going to share with you, these are 10 things. So if you're out there listening, I hope you can play this back. So I want you to know that there, in our ancient Kemetic history, there was an initiate. So the person that said, okay, I want to know. I want to take this journey on. I want to be and become my highest and my best self. So these are the 10 tools that are needed to do that. 1, this is the journey, okay? And you can see where you are right now, and what you're doing is a part of this. 1, being able to control your thoughts. 2, being able to control your actions. 3, your devotion of purpose, much of what you just said. 4, have faith in the ability of your teacher to teach you the truth. 5, have faith in yourself to assimilate the truth, to discern the truth. 6, have faith to use the truth to good purpose. 7, to be free from resentment under the experience of prosecution in spite of what anybody else has to say. 8, be free from resentment under experience. Don't resent the people who are, going against you. 9, to be able to cultivate and distinguish the difference between right and wrong. And 10, cultivate the ability to distinguish between the real and the unreal. Those are the 10 places that in the journey that we're asking the why. And we're living out the why to this through the lessons in the journey. And so it's such a profound thing when you really sit in that, and you can start to see it in everything that you're doing. You'll find those 10 things on this journey. And when you reach them, when you become aware, first, that's when you recognize you're on the journey. Your awareness takes you on the path of the journey. And so as we close out today, I just want to say thank you. Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. We also have, we're part of Encourage Me, I'm Young. So Emmy, and our Put Your Family First podcast comes on Mondays, but our community work also includes what we do in our community. So this is our 12th annual community and family pancake breakfast. Yeah. We have amazing speakers lined up. Cheryl Johnson, the CEO of COTS. We have Bert Johnson, one of our former legislators. We have, Cindy Eggleston, who is the CEO of Brilliant Detroit, who has all of that rich work dedicated in our communities to families and our children. Join us for our pancake breakfast. You can find us on Eventbrite. You can find it on my website. You can find it on our Encourage Me I'm Young website, but you can find it on Eventbrite. Just look up our Encourage Me I'm Young, or MEMIY. Look us up. Join us at the pancake breakfast. We're in District 1 at Christ the King Church off of Grand River in the Rosedale community. Join us. Be a part of this large community pancake breakfast. We do networking at that event. Get your resources that you need. Come and meet me, meet our team, meet some of our co-hosts for this podcast. We'd love for you to be there with us. Yes. Tickets are at the door, $25. If you get it before 3 days before the event, you can get that ticket for $20. So we're looking forward to having you there. And in closing, if you're seeking clarity, healing, or personal empowerment, this podcast is for you. Tune in, engage, transform, and evolve. We have some good shows ahead, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday. Make sure you have your journal because it's something in it for you.
Yes.
Thank you. This is Dr. Heather Heteru with my co-host, Jada Range. You will see her again as well. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, Chantel, for doing what you do so amazing.
A little hand clapping.
Right. Can we do that? There we go. Have an awesome week, and please stay clear.
Thank you.